Good morning, everyone. This is a very early morning post. I haven't even gone to sleep yet, and it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. It's actually 3:56. I have very weird sleeping pattern. I don't know if it's insomnia or just anxiety, severe anxiety because of everything that's going on. I just really I don't sleep well anymore. Could also be the menopause. I don't know. Anywho, meet Fred Trump III. And yes, this is the same Fred III whose sister happens to be Mary Trump and whose uncle happens to be the orange failed dictator, also known as Donald Trump. Dr. Christina Risotto interviewed Fred Trump III, who discussed his son William, who is severely disabled. Take a quick listen to what Fred III has to say during this interview.
Donald never met my son William, who your listeners may or may not know. My son has complex disabilities and has since he was born. Donald, frankly, none of my family, other than my cousins Donnie and Eric, have met William, and that's a shame. I regret the fact that all my aunts and uncles look down on him. But the experience of when Donald was first elected, where I had the opportunity, along with my wife Lisa, to begin in earnest our advocacy on behalf of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, led us through meetings with cabinet secretaries of Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, and led to a final meeting with Donald in the Oval Office, which I was very grateful for. And we met with a group that I had been involved with for many years and still am. And when the meeting ended, he basically said, those people, meaning the disabled, the complex disabled, they should just die. And he went on a couple of years later and basically said the same thing about my son, William. And that's a very disturbing thing. For me, there's no coming back from that. I worked very hard as well as my wife and countless others to just bring some benefits to this just incredibly resilient group of people. Not just here in my hometown in Connecticut or in the U.S., but I've been interviewed around the world, and invariably the issue of disability comes up. So I'm happy to give a voice to that.
What do you think we should all extrapolate from that attitude?
I'm afraid, the word empathetic sometimes gets thrown around too casually, but there is a lack of empathy in Donald that will, and we're seeing, and I was listening to some of your commentary by one of your reporters about what's happening with deportations. I don't really think that the feelings and the fears of a group of people are taken into consideration.
And now, these white spawns from hell, people like Stephen Miller, are pushing for legislation to have disabled people tossed into institutions, also known as concentration camps. By the way, are you aware that these billionaires purchased abandoned warehouses throughout the entire country? Oh yeah, they did. And yes, I'm speaking of the very same people who own these private prisons, or what they like to call detention centers, also known as concentration camps. The very same places where they toss thousands of men, women, and children of Latin descent into against their will. The ones that they snatched and trafficked, and you know what I'm saying. Of course, they love to whitewash by calling them detention centers. Take a wild guess where they got that term from. A certain fascist party from Germany during the 1930s that ended up being defendants in the Nuremberg trials. Those guys, As for me, I grew up around people who are disabled. My late best friend, who passed away in 2012, she had muscular dystrophy since birth. She required assistance 24/7. So she had home health aides, whom are now called CNAs. I used to help these amazing people. In fact, they taught me what a Hoyer lift was at the very young age of 8. They even taught me how to safely transfer my best friend from bed to chair, all at the young age of 8. I happen to have kids, as well as other family members and grandkids who are disabled. I myself am disabled, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a real cold day in hell before these demons even attempt to institutionalize any of us. It will be over my dead body. I said what the fuck I said. One more thing. Happy Pride Month.
Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel.